exhausted, but that's okay because we're getting stuff done today. All right, I'm cold. I'm absolutely exhausted, and my name is Mike. I'm a photographer, and this is my podcast, both video and audio. If you're watching, it's a good thing I'm in black and white because holy cow, I am ready for a nap in the biggest possible way. I'm a dollar short and a day late on this podcast. I rotated tires yesterday, and holy cow, I'm too old for that now. I'm far too old for rotating tires on anything, and I can't refuse to do it anymore in the future. But I'm going to do my best to absolutely avoid ever doing that again, because it was a learning experience. And preface, the podcast name is Viewfinder, by the way. I've never owned a large vehicle. Large vehicles make me very nervous to drive, to operate, to be in. I just don't like it. Fortunately, this vehicle is home, so there's that. But driving it, I'm learning how to do better. But I've never had a big car. I don't like big vehicles. So I don't know. It's just no. So I'm learning how to maintain a big vehicle. And this thing is 28 feet long. It has dual rear wheels. There's a great movie in that one. Cooties. Got to see that one. Let your kids watch it, and then they'll never eat chicken nuggets again. But I rotated the tires on this thing because of an alignment issue that I caused myself, that I will correct before I sell this thing. But they are not, it's not an old man's thing anymore. That's a young man's world. And I hate to say that because I was a young man at one point, but now I don't think so. I don't think I'm a young man anymore. I think I'm a middle young man, or a middle old man, maybe somewhere in that area, but not quite old yet. Sold a set of brake pads to a guy the other day, and he told me don't wait to retire. And he was only 20 years older than me. So I think I'm on the right track with that. But while we're talking about, while we're talking about van life, RV life, don't wait. Don't wait. If you have one kid, 30 feet will do. In case you're wondering, that's where you start. 30 feet. If you have one kid, 30 feet will do. If you have two kids, 40 feet. Anything more than 3 people, 40 feet. 3 people, 30 feet to start. And I call those escape vans because you're going to be escaping the rental cycle or the mortgage cycle or the sit here and pay taxes to us cycle. So it's more of an escape van. So your first one is probably going to be about 30 feet. Don't go much smaller than that. I think that's a bit small for 3 people. But if it's just you, then you can do the box truck or the Sprinter van or something like that. But Sprinter vans is a very temporary thing. It's not a permanent solution. There's no way you're going to spend more than 5 years in a Sprinter van. It's cool. It's trendy. They got hardwood floors that are always cold. It's a good start, but that's it. It's a start. It's an escape van. This is an escape van, and it's 30 feet long, and it gets small sometimes. But here's what I'm thinking. All right. Dear John Q. Public, we need to talk. The types of RVs, Winnebagos, whatever you want to call them. Whatever you want to call them is likely incorrect. because there are lots of types. And in the small town of 5,000 or 6,000 people that I live in, there's at least 18 of us. And we see each other on a frequent basis, rarely interact, but we can tell when all your utilities are on the roof or you're trying to disguise it. We all know all the tricks. So we recognize each other quite well. Me, it's easy because mine's used to be an RV. And it's an older RV that still looks good. So there's that. It draws attention on that merit as well. The types of RVs you're going to run into, and we'll start with the ones that you're most concerned with. And I'm talking to all non-RV people. The types of RVs you're going to run into, the first one is the one you're most concerned with and the one that stands out the most like a sore thumb, the homeless guy that gets an RV and parks on your street somewhere. That's not a homeless guy. That's an opioid addict. That is a person with severe psychological impairments, a person with severe opioid addictions, a person with severe physical disabilities that we have thrown by the wayside, and they found an RV for whatever money, and they just thought they could stay in it. But that's the trick. This is a home on wheels, and it requires the same maintenance and care as a regular home does. It is not that much less expensive, but it is that much more satisfying to me. But to a person who's suffering from severe physical, mental, or substance problems, is not a home. It's a trap, sometimes a fire trap. I see these old RVs catching on fire and stuff. That's not an RV situation. That's a person that we've discarded that found a way to go. And of the population of those people, severe physical, mental, and substance issues, that's likely 1%, less than 1% of that population that actually gets an old RV and parks it somewhere. And of course, they're not going to have the gas money and maintenance. I have to do constant maintenance, rotating tires, changing oil, transmission checks, tire pressure checks, propane leak checks. I have to do, this is a job in itself. Just like a home is a job. It's a lot of work. I got a water heater to look after. I got a refrigerator that's eating my propane for some reason. I have to make sure my water tank is full. I got to make sure my black tank is empty. I got to make sure my gray tank is clean because it stinks the most. The poop doesn't smell that bad. The poop tank doesn't smell bad at all. You rarely smell it. But after some Taco Bell, yeah. But the gray tank, the water with the shower and the water from the sink is a separate tank. It's a separate 80-gallon tank. And it smells terrible. And it lets you know immediately when it gets to like 3/4 full. When it gets to 3/4 full, because I cook all my food. So there's diced up green bell peppers, avocado, onion, what's over here? Tomatoes, sweet peppers. There's everything down there. A lot of organic material. And that gray tank stinks to high heaven when it gets to about 3/4 full. You don't smell it, but then all of a sudden you're wondering, what's that smell? And that's the kind of work that it takes to live this type of lifestyle. It is a lot of work. So when you see that quote unquote homeless guy RV, that's not a homeless guy. That's one of 3 people, severely psychologically impaired, severely substance impaired, or severely physically impaired that our healthcare system has dumped by the wayside. Back in the 80s when my mom was working at Freehold Medical Center in New Jersey, and they closed it down, gave everybody a $10 bus pass, and said, see ya. That happened in my lifetime. And we can't figure out why people are sleeping under bridges. And that's going to be the first type of RV that you come across because it sticks out like a sore thumb. And then here's the second type of RV, which encompasses the rest of us. You never see us. You don't. The layman won't recognize us. There's 4 of us in this parking lot right now. There's at least 4 of us. There is a Jeep Grand Cherokee. He lives in a Jeep Grand Cherokee. I couldn't do that. It's kind of small. I like a little more room than that. But some people love that. Some people there's a whole group that loves camping in Priuses. Like Joshua Tree camping in Priuses, which makes sense because of the way it's built. It has a long, flat, anywhere from 7 to 9 foot floor plan. So it is huge inside as far as a bear-proof tent, a cocaine bear-proof tent. And then there's a 90s conversion van here. There's a Dodge Durango with a self-built cap on it. There's a lot of us. There's a lot of us. There's another commercial van life guy who has a full-size Class A RV, but he pulls his Dodge Caravan behind it that is a marked commercial vehicle. But he comes here and he's like a mobile handyman. Beautiful idea. He's a mobile handyman, and he lives in his RV. He pulls the business behind it. Likely the Dodge Caravan is all loaded up with tools and whatever else he needs to be a handyman, whatever it takes. The same here. I have everything in here I need to be a photographer. And it is a marked commercial vehicle with my giant face on the side of it, with a sign that says, "Do not knock, commercial vehicle, call for information." So if you think it's a homeless RV, think again. And here's the trick. Despite having all that signage on the sides, contractor vehicle, do not knock, commercial vehicle, not for sale, not for hire, I still get people knocking on the door. What are you doing here? And some people are nice about it. They come in, they offer me like giant boxes of food, Thank you, but no thank you. I'm okay. I just went grocery shopping. That's why I'm here at Walmart, because I do all my grocery shopping like in sections, because I have a very small refrigerator. And that's probably a great part about it is you don't have the same room as you would have in an apartment or a home, a full-size ground home. And you have to be creative. When I buy vegetables, when I buy chicken, when I buy fish, I have to break all that down. I can't just throw how you throw the whole pack of chicken in the refrigerator? I can't do that. It would take up 3/4 of my freezer. So what I do is I have to process all my food down, and I have to remove all packaging, I dice up all my, chicken, and then I put it in one of those ice cream buckets, those plastic ice cream buckets, and I put the seasoning and the marinade in there, and I shake it up, and I shove it in the freezer, and then it's frozen until I need it. And I put it in the bottom fridge, let it thaw and I just keep going through the packs like that. I have 1 pack of salmon that I probably should eat, and 2 packs of shrimp. And I have a few things of ice cubes and blah, 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 and whatever else in there. But that's not saying that's homeless is an insult to homeless people as we know them today, because they're not. They're severely addicted, severely physically and mentally impaired, and we discarded them out on the street. Is this thing still recording? I worry about that sometimes. But those are the types of RVs you're going to see. The ones that are completely invisible to you and right next to you. You'd never know unless they were like mine and they're commercially marked. But they're all over the place. And we know how to park to where you won't notice us. And it's generally right in front of you. we don't hide behind dumpsters and park down alleyways. No, we park right in front of you. But because of the way some of these vehicles are made up, you never notice. I know the tricks, and I won't tell you here, but I know the tricks, and I can spot them a mile away because they do stuff that normal people just don't do in a vehicle, on the outside of a vehicle, like utilities and stuff like that. And one thing you won't see is we don't put stuff on the ground. We don't set up tents and chairs and parking lots and things like that. That's not us. That's very much into that opioid physical impairment problem. That's exactly what that is. So that's easy to identify. But those are the two types of RVs you'll see, and there are only two. There are only two types of RV / van life / Prius life / Nomad life. I use van life for short. And that's exactly what you're going to come across. And here I am recording a podcast in one. So that ought to tell you something right there. That ought to tell you a whole lot. That, yes, he's kind of nuts. But at the same time, he might be smart. Might be. What else am I working on? Types of RVs. I have no segues, and I have very little energy right now. I drank a Monster. It doesn't feel like an energy drink at all. I get way more hopped up off of my own tea. I have some Earl Grey and some other teas that are very caffeine rich and wake me up, but I will not drink them after 6 p.m. Absolutely not. So that's the types of RVs. And I need to find a Mexican bird of paradise flower. And oh yeah. Okay, here's a good one. How long, speaking of homelessness, I saw a pretty fantastic video. Just the same old video. They're driving down the street and they got the camera pointed at all the homeless encampments and, wagging their finger of shame at the public society and on our government. And then it hit me, and my brain kind of said to me, you're recording the future. This is why this is allowed to exist. So we can build more $1 million facilities to work on the homeless problem. We just built one here in Albuquerque. $1 million facilities to help with the homeless problem. But what you're really recording is the future of us. Because the 15 families that run this country would absolutely love to turn it into a giant plantation. And what better way to do that than to strip everything away? So when you see these tent cities, don't look at it like, oh, those poor people. Look at it as, oh, that's the future of us. We've already kind of figured it out. And we're doing our best to avoid it. But your rent is never going down. Your mortgage is never going down. I heard the best comedy routine. The guy said there's not going to be any millennial kidnappers that have a woman locked in the basement for 10 years because you can't afford a house. And to be a serial kidnapper with 10 women chained up to a radiator in a basement, you need a home. You need a home with a basement. And the millennials can't afford a home with a basement. So maybe you could kidnap a girl and chain her to your radiator, but you're probably going to have to make her do one of those work from home things so she can make money because it's probably more advantageous. And she'll probably be okay with it because she's probably been looking for an apartment for a while. At least this way she gets to work and, live rent free. I don't know. It just seems with my generation, there were way more kidnappers. There seems to be less and less kidnappers every day. Maybe that's because Blackstone is buying up all the houses with basements so they could do their own kidnapping. I don't know, Illuminati thing. Who knows? What do I know? I'm just a black guy from Jersey, right? What could I possibly know? Also, happy Black History Month. Happy Black History Month to every white person that has listened to that speech and supported the people that they were talking about. If you're a white person and you went to Martin Luther King's speech, Malcolm X, Public Enemy, and you supported it, happy Black History Month to you. Because we didn't make it here on our own, one way or the other. But what do I know? Just a black guy from Jersey. Thanks for tuning in. I'll talk to you next time.